Sowell explained visually. Today we'll talk about inflation. This comes directly from the text, Basic Economics. And the beauty of the writing of Thomas Sowell is that anyone of any academic level can understand the writing of Thomas Sowell. He has a gift for making complex, complicated economic systems and theories sound reasonable and easy to understand. Actually, it's kind of ridiculous that I make these videos and create these visuals because you do not need them to understand Thomas Sowell, but I do it as a gateway to lure you into the writings of Thomas Sowell to make it even easier to understand. But once you start reading the actual texts of Thomas Sowell, then you'll never come back and watch these videos again. But today's a perfect example. He takes the idea of inflation, this phenomenon, this wizardry, this witchcraft, this magic that most people have a hard time understanding. How does it happen? In one single paragraph, Thomas Sowell explains inflation for anyone and everyone. And for the people that don't understand it, I've created visuals to help bring you in. But through this text, you're going to see, oh, wow, I get it now with the visuals, but mainly with the perfect text written by Thomas Sowell. Inflation is the general rise in prices. The national price level rises for the same reason that prices of particular goods and service rise, namely that there is more demanded than supplied at a given price. When people have more money, they tend to spend more money. Without a corresponding increase in the volume of output, the prices of existing goods and services simply rise because the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied at current prices, and either people bid against each other during the shortage, or sellers realize that the increased demand for the products at the existing prices and raise their prices accordingly. It really just comes down to demand created by more money, and more demand leads to higher prices. It's very simple, but let's break it down for everybody. So inflation is the general rise in prices. So we can see in 2010, the gallon of milk, $3.10. 2018, your average price for a gallon of whole milk, $3.72. So this is a general rise in prices. The national price levels rise for the same reason that a particular good and service rises, and namely that there is more demanded than supplied at a given price. So nationally, the price of milk goes up for the same reason that milk will go up in any given market or area. And that reason is that we're not changing the supply, the demand is going up. More people are demanding, and basic economics tells you that when something is more demanded, the price will go up. When people have more money, they tend to spend more money. That's what's creating the increase in demand. Supply of milk has not changed, but inflation means we have more money, and more money, people tend to spend that more money. And when they're spending more money, that means demand is going up. And when demand goes up, prices go up. You say, no, that's not the way it works. When you get more money, when the government prints more money and creates inflation, we spend it. You do not save it. No one saves. Maybe you do, but 99 out of the other 100 people spend the money. And I know you do too, because you get money and you're on Amazon or you buy new phones, you spend money. And so as we spend more because we have more, demand increases. And as we know from basic economics, when demand increases, prices increase. That's what's happening with inflation. It's not magic. It's not wizardry. Inflation leads to the increase in prices because inflation leads to more money, and more money leads to more spending, which is more demand, which is higher prices. We are without a corresponding increase in the volume of output. The milk supply is not changing. We are adding money, which is increasing demand, but supply is not changing. Without a corresponding increase in the volume of output, the prices of existing goods and services simply rise. It's simple. They're rising because we're not changing the supply, but we are changing the demand. And we see the rise in the milk prices from 2010 to 2018. Demand increases because the money supply increases. Without a corresponding increase in the volume of output, the prices of existing goods and services simply rise because the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied at the current price. We have changed the demand. We should not continue to sell the milk at the same price. The demand has increased. Before, the demand and supply led to a $3.10 price. Now the demand is up. It needs to increase price. Remember, basic economics here, that when demand increases, price goes up. When supply increases, it doesn't, right? When we have more of stuff, it becomes cheaper. It's less rare. The supply is more abundant. It's less scarce. Prices fall. But that's not what's happening here. We are not changing the supply whatsoever when we talk about inflation. We're not changing the supply of milk. So you can go ahead and ignore this change in supply. Supply is staying the same. It's staying the same. Milk is not changing. But the demand is increasing because there's more money in the economy because of inflation. You can see as we move the demand curve, the price has gone from $1.20 to $1.64 chocolate bars in this example. Without a corresponding increase in the volume of output, we're not increasing the milk. The prices of existing goods and services simply rise because the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied at current prices. So before, people are like, yeah, I want some milk. I don't have a bunch of money in my pocket. I'll buy some milk. The supply is here, $3.10. So we look at the demand, we look at the supply, we see where they meet, we see the equilibrium, and we get $3.10. More money gets pumped into the economy. People have more money. They tend to spend more. So demand increases. You can see she wants it a lot more. He's like, Demand has increased. Supply has not changed. Supply is the same. Supply curve does not move. But because of the increase in demand, prices will go up. When demand goes up, prices will go up. It doesn't make sense to continue to sell milk at the price of this demand level. Now you're like, whoa. No, let's explain it. Because Thomas Sowell is going to tell you exactly why that is in the next sentence. You're going to say, but, why not just keep spending it that way? Why don't they just keep the prices? Perfect example. Let's look. Why don't they? Well, without a corresponding increase in the volume of output, milk staying the same, the prices of the existing goods and services simply rise because the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied at the current price, and either people bid against each other during the shortage. We have not changed the supply of milk. So what happens is because demand has gone up, people are fighting over the milk that's available, like an auction, and people bid the price up. That's why when demand increases, the price goes up. That's one example that Sowell gives us, was why inflation leads to more money leads to more demand, and more demand could lead to bidding between each other, and that will increase the price of the product. Or sellers realize the increased demand for their products at existing prices and raise prices accordingly. So either we have the auction scenario where the people bid the price up together, that's an increase in demand, or the sellers realize the increase in demand. They realize that people are really coming in their store and buying a bunch of milk and buying, and they really, really want it. And the seller realizes, yes, I can get away with charging more because the demand is higher. The seller realizes, I'm only charging $3.10 for milk. But I think if I raise the price, I'm still going to be able to sell the same amount of milk because people want it that bad. And people want it that bad because the demand is high. And the demand is high because they have more money in their pocket. Because people have more money, they tend to spend more. And that happens when inflation is created by printing more money. In one paragraph, Thomas Sowell simplifies and explains the phenomenon of inflation, which often for students just melts their mind. Like, what is inflation? Why is this money not worth it? I don't understand. Prices are good. It's crazy. $1's $1. You're telling me the dollar's not worth $1 or the dollar's worth more? No, it's basically just the prices of goods are going up. That's a simple way. Now, you want to dive deeper into the weeds? That's fine. But this is the simplest way of understanding inflation. The government prints more money. When people have money, they spend more money, which increases demand. And we know that when demand increases, prices go up. That's it. That's inflation in one paragraph. Thank you, Tom Sowell.